Kwangdong Freecs versus... oh, that's not what I wanted. There we go. Versus Good Game Gaming. So, how's everyone doing? We're going to look at a PvP to start here. Cyan, fairly good. And we might get Cyan as our Chinese representative for a bunch of things because time doesn't want to go. Well, it can't go. And I think realistically, we're just not going to get any Chinese players. But as of right now, Time has been announced that he cannot go to Valencia, and Cyan is technically taking his spot. Now, I think it's very likely that both of them are not going to be able to go. And I think we're going to get a lot of announcements this week about different Korean different players serving as fills for Valencia. We know Skillus and Cyril are not going because of visa issues or personal issues in Cyril's case. We know Time cannot go, and I'm going to assume Cyan's also not going to go because it takes like a month. Plane tickets are like $10,000 to get out of China, apparently, if you can get them. And it's a month-long quarantine. It's a whole another thing. So China is kind of hermiting itself just a little bit, which, I mean, valid, sure, COVID, but it does make it hard for Time and Cyan to leave. So I don't think we're going to see Time or Cyan. We know Trap and Rogue cannot go to Home Story Cup, so assuming also that they're not going here. I know Maru is not going to be able to go to Home Story Cup due to some personal issue that is undisclosed. I don't know what that means for Valencia, though. So point being, I think we're going to see a lot of announcements that are, well, going to make some people sad in terms of players not being able to, not showing up for Valencia. Which is also interesting because it gives us storylines. It says, you know, maybe this is Rainer's tournament to win on a silver platter. Maybe it's just going to be Rainer versus Clem in the finals, but I do know Hero has signed up. And if the only scary Zerg is well, I think we have Solar. And I believe Dark is still planning on going. Maybe it's not all as doom and gloom as the picture I'm painting. Okay. Adepts on the map here for Cyan, just looking for something. They're going to say, oh, yeah, that's a lot of stuff you got there, Trap. That's a bit spooky. So we're going to run away. We're going to run away for now. As, of course, Trap does have his natural on the way. But Cyan got his just a little bit faster. And, of course, he's going to make up for it a little bit. Multiple shield battery. He just needs to make sure it doesn't go down. Interesting thing, though, is he's committed to 6 Adepts. Which is a style that we used to see players like Hellraiser, I think is the big one, do it a decent amount, but it seems to have fallen out of favor. If it gets in, it eviscerates the mineral line, and your opponent just dies. But if it doesn't get in, you have this army that I guess it's 5 Adepts because he did lose 1. But if it doesn't get in, you're just kind of sad. On the other side, though, Trap has a Robo strictly to get the Warp Prism to find worker damage. So 6 workers are going to go down. He's going to try to snipe some sentries maybe as well. Only getting 3 workers because he's not really pairing the shots up all that well. That could have been a whole lot worse. The Adept's going to shade up on the high ground, but actually good force fields means that, oh, well, they will be able to escape, but it forces them just a little bit closer. So one of these Adepts, in fact, 2 of these Adepts should go down as the pylon does not fall. Half the Adepts of Cyan have already died, and they found no value. Meanwhile, Trap, he's got 4 here. He's going to look to shade into the natural. And do we have any workers in the natural? I don't see anything. They're just going to shade on top of the sentries. Now Guardian Shield does get popped. Shield Battery overcharged as well, but it doesn't matter because it's just one-shotting the sentries. And Trap picks up. I think he could have gotten the second one, but limit testing, that's fine. He still gets 1. It's still valid. It's still valuable. As because of the well, actually Trap finds himself down 2 workers despite the value he got. Somewhat surprising, actually. But Adepts are going to find 3, 2 sentries don't exactly, or 2 Adepts don't exactly fight 3. But it's going to be close enough. So for now, Trap was able to kill that pylon off. He's able to circulate between the main and the natural. And Cyan will continue to look to find value. Because this army that Trap has been building for himself is pretty scary. With the Warp Prism and the Adepts in it, the Stalkers, but most importantly, he's got an Immortal as well, and Blink is not yet done. Okay, 3 Adepts into the natural. 1... Okay, actually, they're just going to cancel. There's a full route wall right there. Trap is... Well... Trap is on top of things. He's aware of what's happening, and now warping in the single Stalker. Because that is absolutely what you need, but... With the shield battery and a bunch of Stalkers at home defensively, it should be fine. Adepts, they're looking to shade in. They're not going to be able to find their way up high ground. Low ground, yeah, they're not going to go for it. So... Blink is also done, by the way. So that is something where Cyan does have the capability, the capacity to trade better over time. Okay, 2 Adepts now into the main base. But that's going to force a full recall there. So a couple workers go die as Adept finds its way into the natural. So already, I mean, nice job here. Cyan, he forces the release of pressure from Trap. He gets into the natural mineral line, kills 5 workers. He's feeling pretty happy. He's feeling pretty happy indeed. Where to go from here? Blink on the way. Of course, it's really hard to play a PvP without Blink in this day and age. There's a couple of Adepts, they will warp in back home, but at this point with Blink here, they should be able to... The Stalker should be able to prevent the majority of the damage. And again, Travis not really syncing his shots up, so I think he maybe got 1 probe. That's not really going to be enough. Meanwhile, on the other side, Cyan, he gets 1 pylon down. Unfortunately for him, there are 2 pylons right there, and he does not quite have 1 Stalker, 1 tap potential on the Stalker. So if he gets the pylon, he's going to get a second, and we're going to see him blink out in just a second. This actually will supply block Trap for a time, which is always nice. And actually, this is a nice little distracting force. 2 Adepts in the natural will buy a Cyan room in the main base, and it's actually starting to look really nice for Cyan in this game. That's in terms of how he's been able to control the map. I mean, supplies are pretty damn equal, but Cyan... He finds himself up 8 workers. His 3rd base is on the way, and with Blink, it's hard for Trap to do what he wants to do. And now eventually Trap will have his own Blink. And that is going to be nice. But for now, Blink is on the way. Trap getting aggressive on the other side, trying to take advantage of the fact that his opponent has traded some of his army for Trap's economy. And that's great if Cyan is able to rebuild his army in time. But if not, it does become just a little bit scary. Now, 4 Stalkers warping in at a time here. Trap getting ready for that attack. He's up 10 army supply with 1 Immortal, but I believe Cyan has 1 of his own. Yes, he does. The big difference maker, of course, is the fact that there's a Warp Prism. I don't see 1 for Cyan. 3 Adepts into the natural, and that's a pretty damn easy way to go and fix any worker deficit that you may have found for yourself at the moment. Starts playing on the low ground, and Trap finds himself a nice position here. 1 Immortal goes down. Actually, the only Immortal Cyan has goes down immediately. The 2 Immortals from Trap are still standing strong. Adepts, they can't really find their... Well, actually, they have been able to punch through into the main base, but Immortal's doing a great job of keeping that alive for now. But folks, I'm not really sure how much it matters, the fight in the main base, because at the natural, the Immortals are doing a wonderful job here. The Stalkers, they're forced back. Immortal damage is just... It's oppressive against Stalkers. You really cannot stand toe-to-toe. So Cyan, again, he blinks back, but... 3rd base, of course, is done for Cyan. He can build probes 3 at a time. Not that he even really lost all that many. He lost about 4, I think. Could have been a lot worse. Big deal is he lost... Well, I was going to say he lost his Immortal, but he does have another one right now. This is actually superior concave for Cyan right now. Now, of course, the additional Warp Prism does mean that Trap has 2 blinks. And that is tremendously useful. Okay, Stalkers blink forward. They're just going to look for the Immortal, and they don't get it. They're going to trade 3 or 4 Stalkers for hull damage, but not actually the Immortal going down. And now Stalkers on the other side. They're going to look to get Cyans, and they do. So Trap with the superior blink here, but now Stalkers blink forward. They trade 1 for 1, and more Stalkers arrive for Cyan in this fight. And it looks like he's got a better concave as well, because some of the Stalkers that Trap has, they're just not really fighting. But even still, the additional blink of the Warp Prism is going to be more than enough to keep Trap fine right now. So Cyan... He's still at 5 workers. He's down a little bit of army supply, and most importantly, he's down upgrades and army supply. Often we'll see 1 Protoss player choosing to neglect his upgrades on the altar of getting a lot of stuff. And then it's like, okay, well, you know, you got +1, but I got 10 more Stalkers, so have fun. That is not the story that is happening in this game. Trap has +1. He has more Stalkers. He has better Stalkers. And with his charge just about done, the army that he's going to build are scary. But the supplies are starting to equalize, at least. And there's a forge on the way. I almost feel like I want to see Cyan go double forge. I know that's crazy in PvP, and it's not as impactful, but he has had this eco lead for quite a while now. And he's never going to catch up with his opponent going, this being a full, almost an upgrade and a half ahead. Unless Trap decides to not upgrade, which I don't think is likely. But he could go and say get shields and attack or armor and attack, something like that, and say, well, you know, I'm not gonna match up with your attack upgrades for, well, until we both have +3, but at least I can have a little tankier of an army to kind of ameliorate that a little bit. The Stalkers run forward, but the Zealots here, they say, yeah, Stalkers are pretty bad against Zealots, but the pylon will go down, Stalkers blink back, and now Trap in the middle of the map, he's looking to force his opponent back, and it's just gonna be recall. So Trap's not gonna be able to catch the Stalkers. And we do have a fourth base on the way, actually, for both sides. But Trap has been consistently about one base build time behind. The fourth base of Cyan is just about done. And the fourth base of Trap is, well, only just now getting started. We do need to point out, of course, that the supplies are starting to equalize from an army supply perspective. In fact, Cyan, for the first time in a good long time, he's taken the lead, but it is +2 versus +0. These Stalkers and Zealots and Immortals and all those wonderful things are just going to tear away at the army of Cyan. As Stalkers going to find the stuff on the left. So actually Stalkers on Zealots on both sides, which is ideal technically for both sides. But when Trap's army is just better. That's, of course, just ideal for Trap. And now Stalkers blink around. They get the Warp Prism. A very nice move there. Playing around with Vision, playing around with the Destructible Rock. So Trap will lose his Warp Prism. Will lose his reinforcement capabilities for just a little bit longer. He's getting another one, of course, but he's not going to choose to get aggressive with this. And Cyan continues to nurture that about 10 worker lead. He's going to have Archons as well soon enough, but Trap on the other side of the map, once again, he's got a Warp Prism, or at least it's flying out. So he feels like he can actually do something on the map right now. It's +2 versus +1, so the 2 upgrade lead is gone, and Trap opting to not invest into the tier 3 upgrades at the moment. Because realistically, he doesn't have a lot of money. Okay. Zealots on the other side, they're going to find these Archons, which really means this run-by should not get too much done. Archon Splash is wonderful against Zealots. But Trap is inside track into the third base here, so we're going to have to see whether Cyan can make the fight happen. Starks playing forward. They're going to get one Immortal to start. Second one is well defended for the moment, as Trap now backing on up. Force fields really seem to be serving both players. Now, the Archons on the field for Cyan are making a big difference. The Zealots are just not really getting the damage that they are looking for. So even if Cyan is an upgrade behind, he's cleaned off most of the Zealots. And his Zealots, they stood strong for just a little bit longer, getting on top of the Stalkers, getting on top of everything else. But a couple Zealots in the third base meant 16 probes went down. Cyan no longer has that economic lead that he's been nursing this entire game. Oh, so Stalkers on the right side, they're going to get found out just a little bit. Actually, Trap's going to blink on top of that. That's a bit unfortunate. Now Trap, he's got the upgrade lead. He's got a 20 army supply lead. He has a better, well, he's an equal economy, which is more than enough for him as he targets, fires down Archons by at least the single digits, maybe not by the dozens. This is a fantastic concave for Trap in this game. So Immortals are starting to fall. Trap starting to pull out just a little bit, but Defender's advantage is still wonderful. And the Immortals of Trap, actually, they're starting to fall just a little bit. Stalkers, they blink forward. Not really sure what that blink was, but the Warp Prism, I guess, is dead. Yeah, it looks like Trap or that Cyan killed it. So these 3 Immortals, the Fire Base standing strong, and it looks like actually Cyan, for a moment, he is holding on here. Stalkers blink forward once again. Another Immortal falls. And if you get the Archon, that's going to be all the tech in this army from Trap just falling down. The Zealots, yeah, they're not good against Archons, but they're going to be good enough. That being said, Stalkers, they blink forward. And this is a little bit scary because it's just going to force a recall, but that means there's going to be one dead Immortal, dead Archon, and oh man, that is such a low Archon as well from Trap. Cyan, unfortunately, overextending just a little bit, hoping to punish his opponent just a little bit too hard, and it did not work. So again, Trap builds an economic lead, or builds an army lead because of his economic lead. He's been probing up out of this. And yeah, it's only 4 bases to 4, but 60 workers to 52. And Trap has at least most of his gases. Cyan, more Archons on the way. It feels like, well, first of all, we need to see him probe again. He was really not probing for a while, making sure that he could defend appropriately, but it does mean that he's just falling behind economically. He's now a couple Stalkers rotate on over. Trap looking for a little bit of value on the third base. He gets a pylon. Okay, maybe a shield battery as well. But the Zealot weapons are the real problem. That being said, Trap has lost his upgrade lead. It is +2 versus +2. His +3 is on the way, sure, and he's going to have it eventually, but he did not opt for it for a while, so he didn't really maintain that incredible army power lead. Even still, the units that are brought to bear by Cyan to deal with this run by this weapon from Trap is just, well, it's not. The Zealots are still strong, all 6 of them, and yeah, a couple more Zealots warp in 1 at a time, 2 at a time, because Cyan, folks, he's broke. Oh no, those are, oh okay, actually that's pretty cool. Those are Adepts warping in. And that actually works out rather nicely. Adepts shred Zealots, but if they're right on top of them, it's still a problem. So the Stalker's finally going to be able to deal with the last couple Zealots, as I think the War Prism is still behind the mineral line. But value. So now here comes Cyan moving forward, and again, this is a nice timing he's got. His army is not great necessarily, and it's a bad concave, but if he's going to take a fight, it's certainly before +3 is done. That's going to be done in 10 seconds, but Trap is kind of winning the fight anyways. He's up 30 army supply, better concave, Starks blink in. No reinforcements for the Chinese Protoss. We see the look on his face. He says, yeah, this game is over. Trap, he takes game 1. It's kind of the difference where we see 2 players where one looks, I don't know, B tier, or what, like, I don't know. Trying to figure out how to say this without disparaging Cyan, because Cyan is good. And we have shout out to when he reverse swept time to win China last year. But it felt like everything he was doing, Trap was just doing a little bit better. Of course, it's making that value, even that value judgment is a little bit tricky, because a big reason that Trap was able to win that game was due to the fact that he got upgrades, and his opponent looked to go for the low upgrade style. It was working well for him for a while. Again, that it was up 10 workers for majority of the game. But relying on something as feeble as a 10 worker lead when A, chrono exists, and B, it's so easy to remove a mineral line in PvP, and like sacrificing your army strength for it, that's hard to do. Hello there, DK Hedegard. Hedegard. I hope you're doing well, like Turtle Punch. I know you were hanging out earlier. Hopefully the hangover has abated from... Never did I know that protesting invited hangovers, but, you know, valid. All right, so where do we go? Game number 2. Glittering Ashes, another big map. Hardwire was map 1. And, well, for now, it's a 2-gate expand. I don't expect to see things too crazy. We've started to see Max Packs actually go 1-gate expand on the high ground, which is kind of cool, kind of funky. And it certainly it kind of gives him the best of both worlds scenario. But really, no one else is Max Packs. Max Packs has his own way of playing PvP, and it's always fun to watch, but it really is only Max Packs that we see doing that. And folks, for those of you just joining me here, we got this series. We got KDF versus Good Game Gaming, as KDF struggles to make sure they stay ahead of Liquid and Team GP. And then, of course, Storm versus Team GP. Team GP trying to find their way up out of, first of all, avoiding relegation. Same with Good Game Gaming. But B, finding their way up into the playoffs. And, well, Storm just looking to move higher. So maybe not quite as impactful as the matches we had yesterday, but still, they're big. And with only 2 weeks remaining, every map, every series matters a whole hell of a lot for WTL. Now, folks, also... as a reminder, there is no WTL next week because of Valencia, because most people that play in WTL, almost everyone that plays in WTL will be playing in Valencia. So that's not going to happen. It's going to pick up the week after, which would be the weekend of July, what, 9th and 10th. Yeah. 8th, 9th, and 10th. So Cyan, of course, well, both players have gone for Oracles here, and Trap has gone for Phoenix behind that. I thought I saw Phoenix from Cyan, but I don't think that is correct. So now Oracle flies in from Trap. Is he going to get anything? No, because there's a shield battery here. But Trap opting for a Phoenix behind is interesting. As I guess it's going to be to deal with the Oracle of Cyan and make it so it doesn't get any damage, and that's fair. But I don't expect to see anything more than that. There we go. Okay, so the Oracle is going to get found out. Phoenix is just going to force a recall. It's not going to kill it, but it's going to get a little bit of damage. And now this Phoenix is a nice force multiplier. It can lift up stalkers that cannot run away. You can scout a little bit with it, but not really much more than that. Okay, Adept's trying to find their way to the natural, and the main base 2 workers are going to go down. Adept's shading just a little bit more. There is no shield battery, so make it 5 workers. Maybe 5, maybe 5. No, good body block there from Trap. Well done. He gets 4 though, and 4 for 2 Adepts. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it could be a lot better. So Cyan very happy with that. Now he's going to proxy on the other side. Curious to see what this is going to be. It may just be for blink aggression off of this damage. As the probe does stay with it, Oracle flies in, gets another couple workers, but it does die in the exchange. So at the end of things, Oracle's still alive for Cyan. Not for Trap, not anymore. Cyan actually equal in workers, in worker count, because of the damage both players really were able to get with their Stargate units. And, well, the game goes on, but there we go. Gateway is getting proxied from Cyan here. He is on... They're giving me 4-gate blink. And the problem with this, the unfortunate thing about this is this one is really hard for Trap to scout. As I say that No, I'm sorry. Both players are going for similar ideas. Cyan finds Trap's proxy. He's just going to kill that one off. But meanwhile, Cyan's proxy is alive and well. Trap has not found it. He's not even looking for it in the right spot. So Cyan is not going to look to get aggressive with this proxy anymore, I don't think, because his opponent is getting aggressive himself. Instead, this proxy, you can warp into Adepts, and they can shade into Mineral Line and kill a ton of things. That is a fantastic stasis. 3 stalkers are going to get shut down. And now Cyan should look to... Yeah, he's just going to jump on top of this. One worker goes down. Will not get any more. And I think the play here is you hold at home if you're Cyan, and you just warp in a couple of Adepts, and you consistently shade them into your opponent's base, and you have a lot of fun. And that is exactly what he's doing. As the stalkers... well, we're going to see one of them go down, 2 of them. I don't know that he gets the 3rd, but the first... Ooh, one more stalker. That would have been nice, but no. Meanwhile, Trap has found the proxy as well. And the second Oracle's not going to get much done. Adepts, what are they doing? Yeah, they're also not doing all that much. So both players, they've gone for some shenanigans. They have not really been super successful with it. And the game goes on. Cyan needs up a worker. But now Cyan blinks forward. He's looking for some stalkers, and he got 1 to start, but shield battery is more than enough and a superior concave for Trap as well. So Cyan has to back up. And, okay, actually, Trap, he blinks forward here a little bit, but that means he doesn't have defensive blink, so the Cyan will always take a better trade here, and he's absolutely doing so. A couple stalkers went down. Yes, Cyan lost 1, but I think he got 3 or 4 in the exchange. Trap, though, good blink micro right now. Another stalker does fall, and there's a... Oh, look at that. The stasis Is it gonna get, oh, it gets them all, and now no Cyan absolutely wants to take this fight. He rebuilt the pylon. 4 stalkers are on the way. He blinks forward, and this is getting tremendously scary for Trap right now, because he's gonna have to do what he can to get out with as many stalkers from that side as possible. But Cyan's going to be looking to bodyguard every possible angle of the stalkers. Just make sure he gets as many as he can. 1 goes down. He's going to get a 2nd. He's going to get a 3rd. And that is wonderful. He's going to get a 4th as well. So now Cyan finds himself up about 10 army supply. 4 stalkers warp in at a time. Charge on the way. It's not super close, but it is on the way. +1 as well. 17 stalkers to 7 as Cyan is owning this game. Now, we're not really seeing it in the supplies necessarily, but we are seeing that in tech alacrity. The stalkers now they're going to find their way in. Once again, shield battery overcharge does get popped, but it feels like Cyan, yeah, it looks like Cyan can just pop this immortal anyways, and there we go. So now he's going to blink backwards. Stalkers continue to fall. The tech, again, of Trap's army falling behind as he is, again, down 15 army supply. And charge will be done in just a second. Now, we're going to have to see whether this is going to be the proper pressure release valve for Trap, because there are adepts in Cyan's third base. That's obnoxious, but I feel like we just have too many problems for Trap to deal with. We got 99 problems, but minerals, probes, they ain't one as the stalkers. They run forward, and Immortal falls yet again, but Trap has to blink, or Cyan has to blink out, because, of course, Immortal did a lot of damage, and he's not in the best position. 14 workers have gone down on the other side of the map, by the way. So Cyan, he is kind of in an all-in position behind this. His army is good. He's double the army supply. It has charge. It's in a very good spot, but it's only 46 workers. Pardon me. EBT Korea always shatters my Sundays. We didn't even have an all-time great game like Beyond Hero from a couple. We had Beyond Hero in the finals, but it was kind of an underwhelming Beyond Hero series. Just a lot of stomps, and the final game was good. But a couple workers will go down here for Trap. As what time has equalized the work count because yeah, Adepts in the natural are doing a really nice job. And Cyan, I feel, yeah, he's just got inside track again. He's going to blink on top of this pylon that powered the shield battery overcharge, powered the warp pins as well. Zealot's getting on top of everything. 21 workers have gone down the entire third base. Well, it's just not mining anymore. Zealot's trying to get on top of the Immortal, but the Immortal isn't even something that appears to matter. Oracle flies in, and that's actually, well, you got to be careful there. You don't want to lose the Oracle. But Trap falls down. Cyan, he ties it up 1-1. And when we talk about ZVZ, we got to talk about a couple things. First and foremost, is there an early pool? Oh, look at that. Sue's got an early pool, 12 pool. Now, of course, 12 pool is a macro opener, which seems weird to talk about. But you get 8 to 12 lings, and it's just all about putting pressure on the natural. Killing a couple workers, unless he gets, well, that would be a 13-12 anyways. Unless he gets gas pool or he gets a, or gets a gas at some point. This is just to put pressure on, take advantage of the map, the fact that Berlingrad is, well, it's a shorter map, and just force Rattata to be a little uncomfortable. So today I have found out that a family of groundhogs lives under my house. I was a nice afternoon. I went outside. So, I'm working my way through the Wheel of Time, so I only just really have started it. So I'm about halfway through book 1. So I was sitting outside, or about to actually walk outside in the early afternoon to go and read the book. And, well, I look outside, there are just 2 groundhogs sitting under my chair. So I go and I open the door. Of course, the groundhogs run away, and it turns out there's a hole under the house that they have dug out. But pretty soon, I'm just sitting there reading. They peek their heads out, both of them. Peek their heads out of their burrow and are just staring at me before they give up and I just go back in. The presence of a human is too scary. It's okay. So 6 lings show up. This is really bare minimum for Sue. We talk about 8 to 12, but he only spent, well, I guess he got 8 lings, which is again bare minimum. So how many workers does he get? Not any to right now. 1 gets low as again the lings, they continue to chew away at things. If they're, oh, okay, you know, he did get a extra set of lings. I'm sorry. So This is a bit more of a commitment now from Soom, as the good drone drill to start, but the lings are starting to fall. The drone drill kind of left them all on their lonesome here, as that one very low ling does go down. 2 workers have died to start. Looks like that will be the extent of it. And so it's mining time lost. Oh, no, wait. Three low workers went down to this very low lings at the end. It was looking like a great hold for Rattata. But losing 5 workers and all the lings that he lost and the mining time, you're less happy about that now. It was great for a second, but you're less happy about it. Okay. So now we can move on into the mid game. Rattata effectively playing gasless. He did pull all workers off gas to make sure he could pull enough drones to hold while still having some sort of income. And generally, when a 12 cool, you actually don't get link speed. You know your link speed is going to be delayed enough that if your opponent does have link speed, it's never going to be useful. So instead, you make up with the wall. So yes, Sue has gas on the way, but this is going to be for roaches. We're not going to see speedlings in this game for either player. And it's most likely going to be moving into roach play. There's a world maybe where Rattata gets speed and goes mutas, but I highly doubt it. So, Roach one on the way for both sides, a layer as well for Sue. That's what you get when you don't get speed. You can still get a decently timed layer, even without everything else. But really, layer on the way for both sides, +1 ranged as well. I mean, this is paired builds. The big deal, Rattata gets his third base faster. But it does mean Sue's going to have more money saved up for being able to maybe make up more roaches earlier, something like that. But I don't think he's going to go for any particular +1 speed roach timing necessarily. Not with taking that third base. Hey, Zogern. I'm glad you do enjoy that. It's been a while. How you doing? Sorry, this cast is a bit lower energy. I'm just feeling the tiredness from EPT Korea last night, apparently. School's over for you, right? So, okay. Roach is on the way for both sides, Rattata and Sue. But now really the question is, where do we go from here? When we have mirrored matchups that have mirrored ideas, it makes it really, like, figuring out how the game ends is always a bit interesting. And generally we see one player, they break somewhere else. They say, maybe they make a quicker 4th base, and that's the inflection point their opponent decides to go say, okay, this is where I'm pushing. Or they make a tech transition, and they say, okay, I'm actually going to go Spire out of this, or I'm going to go really quick Lurkers or something, which less so, because you kind of get bowled over more often than not. But now here comes the army of Sue, recognizing that maybe he's got a little bit more. The Queens are walking as well. That's pretty cool. So just a lot of extra health in this army. So here comes the army of Sue. The first couple miles, they're going to get dodged. And now it's a superior concave for Sue at this point. Rattata remicroing, trying to find his way on top. The one queen is just dead, and actually the high energy one. So good job there, Rattata. But the army of Sue does appear to be just a little bit bigger right now. +1 done for both sides. Ravagers firing from behind. And actually, this concave looks like it's starting to favor Rattata just a little bit. With defender's advantage, it absolutely is. Yes, there is a highway of creep on the other side of the map, but the queen will now fall. Rattata getting on top of things. This Ravager not tight. I feel like Sue should have targeted the Ravager down, but even still, Sue thought he had a timing, but that timing was only the timing of his own demise. Still, though, you got to be careful. punching through into the defender's advantage. We saw how problematic it is, but with a 30 army supply lead, it feels like Rattata may be able to make something happen. I don't think the majority of that supply lead is not with this army right here, though. Now, the transfuses are out, and still it's a superior concave for Rattata, so he's going to run in even further. The last roaches that are here, they're all going down. Roaches now, they're being caught out as they morph, and that is where problems really start to happen in earnest. Drones are going to get pulled to Rattata. He takes game number 1. He says, Rattata versus Sue. Oh, good luck, Zogren. So you're going into your senior year of high school then, right? Also, how does it feel to be the world's #1 Hero fan and have Hero doing this well as he is? Must be pretty nice. Although I guess you're the world's #1 fan of CJ Hero, and CJ Hero doesn't exist anymore, so you never doubted, unlike the doubters. The only doubt I was aware of was whether Hero was going to return to StarCraft or whether he was going to go work in his family's restaurant. Although you no longer, that's fair. I know, I'm not sure I exist either. I have this coming, I'm doing this. I have DreamHack Valencia B stream coming up Friday and Saturday of this week. And by the way, you know what my wake up time is for Valencia on Saturday morning? Let's just take a guess. Okay. We got spawning pools on the way for both sides. Nothing, and no 12 pool shenanigans here. So you actually got more than you would expect normally with the 12 pool. You got 5 workers. Thank you, Zogren. I mean, it was kind of expected that I would be B-stream at the very... Yes, 3 a.m. You're absolutely right. Broadcast starts at 4 a.m. Eastern on Saturday. Makes me tremendously sad. But, you know, Valencia B-stream was kind of expected at this point. I mean, I produced and cast the B-stream for Katowice. So, unless they were doing something where, I don't know, maybe unless they were doing something like they did with Cats and Jirogo, where they had, like, the pro player B-stream. You know. Not too unexpected. But, exciting nonetheless. The thing that was going to be really exciting as Sue's just going to find out that third base is here. But really, that's not all that crazy. What we're looking at, of course, is we're looking at that 27 drone mark and whether there's a Ling flood behind that. Again, this is Korean ZVZ. It's a little bit more common than it is in, say, Europe, at least from Sue. But it's not nearly as common as in North America. And there we go. Bunch of Lings are on the way, but we're not quite at Ling flood territory just yet. We're just at defensive amounts of Lings territory. If we see it go up to about 20 army supply, or we see a second set of larvae go into Lings for Sue, that's when things start to be a little bit complicated. But for now, no real tell on that one. Hey, Avaris21, thanks so much for the follow. And yeah, okay, Sue is going. Yeah, he's pulling Lings. So he does want to get aggressive onto the third base of Rattata in this game. But Rattata already has one Baneling just about done. A couple more on the way. But Sue morphing his own Banes out of the way here. He wants to knock down the third base of Rattata, not let him get into the Roach timing. Because Rattata is a Roach man. He beat TY with a 1-1 Roach timing back on, I forget the map, back last year. And it was impressive as hell. I don't even remember the tournament. I just remember him beating TY and looking damn good doing it with a 1-1 Roach time. Anyway, Lings are going to surround the Queen. You do need these Queens defensively. That first Baneling connection will not be incredible. And now Lings are going to get on top of the defensive Baneling, morphing in there from Rattata. So Rattata sectioned off a couple Lings, looking to try to knock down that first Bane. Not successful, though. And now it is 4 Banes, 5 Banes versus the 2 that are here. This can rapidly snowball here for Sue as more Queens continue to fall. The Banelings now rolling into the mineral lines eventually. And they're going to try to bust through this wall. In fact, they will. That's a fantastic use of the Banes. The Banelings on the backside. Sue he loses a couple of his Lings to that, but Lings now find their way into the mineral line here. 8 workers have gone down for Rattata to start, and he's going to continue to lose more. Meanwhile, Sue rallying more and more Lings onto the other side of the map, not doing anything just yet. But there we go. Damage onto the third base. Another queen is going to fall here, and Rattata, the supplies tell a different story. He's only down 11 total supply, but when we look at the fact that Lings are just about everywhere and he just has no way to defend them, only 16 Lings on the map, only 8 army supply, and most of that again is in production. So Rattata, he's in a significant problem. The Banelings will continue to morph, but 19 workers have gone down. The third base will die eventually. Sue doesn't have too many Lings on it because he understands that's not what's important. Banelings making not great connections there. Ling's making fantastic connections on the Banes. More Banes to continue to morph in. +1 melee about a third of the way done, but the Queens continue to die, and so too do the Lings. Lings in the main base as well. Third base finally falling down, and even that is enough for Sue to consider this a victory, but he will continue to find more. Rattata, at this point, he's trying to find some way to make a comeback happen, but in fairness to him, Sue did cut workers at 26. So Rattata has lost 22 workers, but he's also is at 24 because he overdroned, to be honest, overdroned quite heavily. So if he can maybe survive to +1 melee, I mean, no, he can't. Maybe he needs some insane Baneling connections, maybe survive to +1 melee, and that's not going to be enough. So he says GG. Sue ties it up, and he eats a watermelon. Can do what it takes to force an ace match, or get KDF 3 points, put them solidly ahead of the put them solidly or keep them solidly ahead of Liquid. Of course, Blackburn is a interesting map. Now, we're not seeing anything proxy just yet, but it's really nice for tanks. Certainly, it's also a map that can be turtled pretty easily if that's your bag. And I never realized that those stickers, that's a caution, on maps were actually regionalized. Or they're like the Reaper Cliff stickers. Because that is in Chinese. And I want to say it says caution in English, so that's pretty cool. I assume that was just an image and not an actual, and not a text that would be translated by the StarCraft engine. So that's pretty cool. So Reaper goes to the high ground, says, oh, there, yeah, I'm going to get scattered out. But anyways, this has got to be a map that we do consider. Actually, I'm curious, what does Aligulac say about Keen versus Dream? Like, my gut says it's pretty Dream favored. But we say in a best of 1 in any given map, Dream versus Keen, what do they give it? Because Keen has looked good as of late. He won an EPTNA, he made the finals. And actually, Aligulac says this is 50-50. Says Dream wins, but 50.01 versus 49.99. So a little bit closer than my kind of idea of how these players are. And in fairness, in part that is because Keen has been playing rather well as of late. Whenever he decides to play, like we see him show up for an EPT Cup occasionally, and he says, "Oh, yeah, just let me win it," and then he doesn't do anything for a while, and you're like, "Okay, where'd he go?" But Zogren, remind me. I know you said your auditions, musical auditions for college are in the fall. What instrument do you play, or is it choir? Is it voice? What would you be auditioning for? But okay, for now, Keen onto the other side of the map, picking up. I'm assuming just a bunch of Marines. Yeah, a bunch of Marines and 4 Marines, 2 Reapers, and a Heli, and just again, kind of that kitchen sink idea that is popular with some players is to say, I'm gonna get like this one extra tech unit, and I'm gonna run across the map with it and just cause some havoc. But with Cyclone and Marines here, Dream will be impervious to that one, at least to start. He's gonna get a lock on, and Medevac takes a little bit of damage, but not too much. As again, Keen continues sharking around, looking for that inflection point where he can go and actually make something happen. But for now, the Hellions going to scout that out. So really, not doing all that much, but really nothing ventured, nothing gained. Widowmine! Oh, wait, never mind. Massive moves here from Dream. The Widowmine just randomly in the middle of the map knocks down the entire army. Knocks the medevac down because of the damage the Cyclone did earlier. And that one Reaper gets popped out. But on the other side, another Widowmine. That wasn't really much of a... Dream looked like he was trying to split. It just really wasn't much of a split. But now auto turret from Dream or Raven going to make auto turrets into the main base of Keen here. And Keen, actually, he's a little bit slow to respond. 2 workers are going to go down here. And, well, could be more. I don't know. Okay, will be 3. Reapers in the main base as well, looking to add on to that tally. 4th one does go down. Make it 5, maybe. Nah, probably. No? Okay, he will. 5 workers, they do go down. And, yeah, at this point, the Reapers are caught in. But it's 5 minutes in. You expect the Reapers to die. That which is dead must die. And, well, I guess we must fear the Reaper Man. Some other pithy idea about Reapers and death. Cyclones get a lock on the Raven, though, and that's going to be enough to force it back for the moment, as Keen does have tank superiority. So it's really hard for Dream to push in right now. Not until at least he gets a little bit more tanks or maybe finds a better position. But what he has done here, he's bought himself time. His third base is done. The third base of Keen does not look like it's even started at this point. So Dream, he's going to go. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Is that... Yeah, no, that is his third. Okay. I was like, for a second, I lost track of what time it was. I'm like, is that just his natural orbital completing? And the answer is no. But third base now on the way for Dream. He's going to be able to take it on location or put it on location whenever he wants. It looks like a Marine died to the random Widowmine there. That Widowmine from Dream has found so much value. It got a medevac full of 7 units in it or 6 units in it. I killed another scouting Marine, and now Cyclone is looking to chase the... There we go. That's a dead Cyclone 1 for 1. But you take those because your army is actually... Well, it's not all that much bigger. Never mind. But here's the interesting thing. Raven or Vikings on the other side of the map. They're going to go try to drop in the main base of Dream, looking for some value. Auto turret gets dropped to knock off some of these Marines, and now here comes the army of Dream into the natural. We will, of course, have the 1 tank disabled here, but the rest of the tanks, they're going to siege on up. And with 4 tanks here, I don't know that Dream's going to be able to punch on in. I mean, he's trying, but his army is just dying. Meanwhile, the Ravens on the other, or the Vikings, excuse me, on the other side, 7 workers have gone down for Dream. Vikings eviscerating the production now of Keen. Or of Dream, and this is a problem. I mean, Vikings, they arrive, sure, but 11 SCVs have gone down. Man, Vikings, they just shred SCVs. They're getting pulled defensively, but 18, 19, 20 workers are going down. And the Vikings, now they lift up. They're going to get, on the backside, they're going to get a Raven too. And yeah, sure, the Vikings die eventually, but massive moves here for Keen, and now he's going to take advantage of it right now. 10 army supply in the good. He's got 4 tanks, and really nothing much else, but 4 tanks. When he's knocked down almost all the ground army of his opponent here, well, that is a hard thing for Dream to attack and do for the most part. Now tanks on the low ground looking to do what they can. SCV's getting to get pulled, but 1 tank unsieged, explicitly unsieged, to try to make sure that the SCVs, their pull does not get too much done. Now Viking lead in the air once again because Keen's been reactoring them out. And yes, he loses 2 tanks, but he has a nice chokehold position on the rally between the natural and the third. As now he runs forward again with superior vision. He's going to go. And he's going to drop the Vikings here on top of this tank. The tank does go down, trades 1 for 1, but again, this is a fantastic position for Keen here. And sure, Dream does have a third base, but he's actually down in workers because of the damage that Keen got earlier. And now Ravens, Vikings, they're going to harass a little bit forward, but not going to get too much done. SCV's pulled off the mineral line, trying to mine as well as they can. And it's interesting to see that the rally of Keen is not really showing up. It's just, this is just a little bit of pressure that continues to find outsized damage. Yes, that is exactly what's happening. Blitzed. These games happen at 8 sometime this morning. Broadcast started at 8, or the WTL broadcast starts at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. Eastern. But I prefer to do it now and do it for a different audience, for, well, more North American friendly audience, especially if you were like me and up until 3, 4 in the morning doing EPT Korea. How far away is Valencia in time? Valencia is next weekend. July 1st through 3rd. I'll be doing the B stream on days 1 and 2. And I have a 3 a.m. weekend, or 3 a.m. wake up on Saturday for a 4 a.m. broadcast start. Woo! That's going to be fun. Because I'll be doing the B stream and not going to be out there in person. When is their next balance patch? Who knows? Lorastodon, what he says is correct. No one really knows. I know pros have been hinting to me that there will be one, In fact, and there will be a bigger one than what we got after Katowice. But I don't know what is happening with that. If you're asking how far away is Valencia, well, it's across the Atlantic Ocean. As the crow flies, from me, sorry, we cannot locate driving time, and flights don't tell me distance actually, so I can't really tell you. But oh, look at this! Dream's gonna find the fourth base. That is at about a 13-hour flight from. It's about a 13-hour flight for me. Hey, Killinaz, thank you so much for the follow. Is Dream looking to make a comeback happen here? He certainly got the fourth base down. He has the gold set up, but again, the Viking marauding force, the harassment force, finding its way into the main base once again of Dream, looking to find similar damage to what he got in the first one, but for now he's going to back up. Says, it's not really worth it. I don't really know I want to do that necessarily. So it's just going to patrol, hoping to catch a drop maybe of Dream, because Dream is behind in this game. Make no mistake about it. Keen has a 30 army supply lead. Yes, 1-1 is done faster for Dream, and that makes it a little bit hard for Keen to take a straight up fight marine to marine right now. But 1-1 is done in just about, there we go, 10 seconds. He has a 25 army supply lead. Of course, army supply matters less in TVT than it does in the other matchups. But here comes the drop, shepherded forward by these Vikings, their bodyguards, their partners in crime. And now the drop is going to happen. There's one tank here. Vikings, their job is twofold. It's A, to provide vision. B, to knock down the Vikings so the medevacs can stay around longer. And C, to maybe even, well, land on this tank. But actually, the Marines, they got stuck a little bit. So not really the best trade there. And actually, he's going to lose the Viking fight too. So nice cleanup here from Dream. At the very least, he doesn't take too much damage. He loses 2 Vikings and he loses a little bit more. But here's the push on the other side. And this gold base is going to get targeted down. 11 workers have died because of the combined harass at the main base and the fourth. The gold base starting to burn down here. Does he? Yeah, he's going to get it. Gold base, yeah, there's nothing to repair this one. Even, well, you can't even drop a mule as it does burn down. So yes, Keen did have his fourth base denied, but he got another one up and Dream lost his. The big difference, of course, is the fact that, well, Keen had his canceled. Well, I'm also not from Maine, blitzed, but sounds like it's about 3,500 miles from me then. Okay, so north side of the map here, Marines again looking to go forward, and they're going to find out, oh, well, that's actually some free tanks. Well, not free because they do lose Marine support, but you all will gladly trade mineral units for gas units in this stage in the game. As Keen maintains his supply lead, he's got, well, actually, his upgrades are behind. So that's going to be the timing I think that Dream is going to be looking for. He's got a couple ones. With 2-2 versus 1-1, his Marines will be able to fight far above their poundage. And then also, there's going to be a point where he will eventually max out, ideally. And then he's going to be looking for that one. Also, we do, well, he's not really going for that necessarily. I do like the addition of the Ravens, because he has built himself some sort of air lead here. But sometimes we see Maru in games that he's behind in TVT, but is Maru ever truly behind in TVT? I don't think so. But when he's behind, he says, yeah, I'm just going to go, and I am going to skip the mid game. I'm not even going to get 3-3 from my bio. I'm just going to get a lot of Ravens. I'm going to move into the late game immediately, and good luck. And Blackburn is actually a prime candidate for that as the medevac goes down. I don't think there was anything in it. But the scouting medevac does follows again. The bio looking to stim on in. But these tanks are fighting pretty damn strong. So one tank goes down, but not exactly the most cost-effective trade for Keen right now. Dream on the bottom side is going to look to try to chase the medevacs, but they have boosts, so they get out. Half the bio dies. And actually, Dream has a, well, for the moment, he has a base lead. Maybe the top right is not mining. But he has his gold once again. His economy is in a decent spot. He's 70 workers to 72. The big deal, though, again, that army supply has been hurting and is hurting and will continue to hurt for a while. but it feels like Dream has been able to turtle up pretty damn well, really secure his position, and with the +1 to air attack as well, as he moves into that late game with Ravens and Vikings, his Vikings will be better. We don't see Keen with double armory just yet. That's a big deal. +2 mech attack also just about done here as well, which means it doesn't matter. Tanks one-shot a stem marine. Regardless of their upgrades, they do get one-shot. So that is a nice situation to be in if you are Dream, as the army of Keen, it's trying to set up a two-stage attack. Bunch of Marines on the bottom, bunch of tanks on the north side looking to secure positions. Now the Ravens or Vikings will go forward. 2 tanks, they get disabled as the tanks run on forward. Meanwhile, the army of Keen is trying to make something happen here on the bottom side. I don't think there are quite enough tanks to defend Dream necessarily, but it was not cost effective just yet into the main base. Marines, oh yeah, they're getting on top of production. That's a starport. That's actually probably the most impactful piece of production that you can get in this game, and they're going to find yet more. +1 air attack. We talked about how good that was, about how nice it allows Dream to secure the air battle. Well, it doesn't matter anymore because that armory is dead. Yes, +2 mech attack is done, but losing your reactive starport is a problem. It means you're not really building Vikings as easily. Losing +1 air was well, +1 air was meant to be something that was going to get Dream back into his army, at least back into this game. But the Vikings, they will land, and another tank does fall. So Dream is doing a damn fine job there, but unfortunately just not enough tanks. Not quite enough tanks outside of his natural to deal with the Marine run by. And we do, of course, need to point out that Keen is getting +3 tank attack on the way, but he's also getting upgrades for his bio. Dream is doing the Mario thing where he's not even doing it because he says, realistically, you know what's important in this game? Ravens, Vikings, and tanks. The Marines are just buffer. They're mineral sinks. I don't really care about them nearly as much, so I'm not going to get my upgrades for them. I'm going to rely on my tech units to keep me alive in this game. And it is valid. It's viable. We're going to see it's going to work out for him, though, because he just doesn't really have a lot of army supply, so it's hard for him to defend every position at once, and we're seeing Keen punish that. We saw him punish that by, of course, knocking down the starport and knocking down the second armory. Dream just canceled another armory. I guess he wanted gas for 3-3. Okay, or maybe no. What did he? I don't know what he canceled actually, but I was going to stem forward. 3 tanks are going to go down pretty quickly, and that is always going to be a useful thing. But this is a bunch of low bio, so yeah, take your victory, back up. That's not a fight you really want to take with down upgrades. Well, not down upgrades just yet, but into a bunch of sieged up tanks when you have literally no. In fairness, one-shotting Marines, you're okay, but even still, you don't want to fight into those Marines. As Dream is he's just kind of sitting here on 150 supply, 160 supply, making it, well, he's just not able to get as close to maxing out as he would like. But Keen is maxed out here, or close enough for government work. And he's going to doom drop into the main base with all the Vikings, all the Ravens meant to defend. The scan gets dropped. There's a single missile turret here, but that's not going to be quite enough. Tanks siege up, but the Ravens, they're going to be quick on the draw on that one. One medevac, I think it died. Second one is going to fall here as well, as here comes the cavalry of Dream. And auto turrets, there we go. Auto turrets and shutdowns, lockdowns are going to go down here, but the Vikings, they fall. Keen has found his wedge. He's found his position. He's found his location in the main base that he's going to look to close this game out. He's been looking for it for about 18 minutes. He's had a lead for the last 15, but now that extra orbital will go down. The Vikings say, yeah, you don't get to do that one. His tank is still alive here. The Marines continue to find value, and as the Marines pop out, of course, from Dream, they're able to knock down some of this, and Ravens run forward, auto turrets get dropped, but the Ravens, they all just about to go down, and, well, Dream is below 100 supply, so it's he's quadrupled. His army supply is quadrupled, and that is not fun for our good gaming Terran player. It feels like he's channeling a bit of a fantasy here. He's down in upgrades, he's down in army supplies, down in pretty much everything. And with the Ravens here, the tanks, they're not even going to be that solid defensive utility, so they're just going to get snapped on down as they do get perpetually disabled. Good game. The Good Game Gamer says, Keen takes game number 1. Legox says they're 50-50. Oh, look at this sneaky little SCV finding its way onto the other side of the map. It's going to be... Okay, second SCV, so double barracks going down. Most likely double barracks Reaper. We're going to have to track the gas count, though. If it's single gas, there's a world where this is going to be proxy Marauder, concussive shell Marauder. You get Marines and Marauders, and you go to town. But it looks like it's going to be single gas right now, but we should see a second gas coming up rather soon. So, does Keen do it? Does Keen make the hole here? Does Dream, with his proxy shenanigans, does he find the comeback? Does he force us to an ace match? Which, again, ace matches make no one happy. Well, they make me happy as a fan of StarCraft, but they don't make anyone else happy because it means you're the losing. Well, they make the losing team happy in part because you get a point and you don't walk away from the match with nothing, but it makes the winning team pretty upset. Because instead of 3 points, well, instead of opening up a 3-point split on your opponent, you only open up a 1-point split. You get 2 points, they get 1. Instead of you getting 3, they get 0. But anyways, Reapers are on the way. 2 at a time coming in from Dream. And SCV is actually being a little annoying on the factory. Maybe even the fact that the SCV is selling out for that to deny the factory is going to be maybe enough of a tell for Keen, but anyway, Reaper goes, or SCV goes down, but actually Reaper of Keen takes the first shot, so he's got to be careful, but Dream backs up for the moment. The SCV, the Citizens Convoy. Not quite an arrest just yet, but Citizens Pylon is enough to keep him back for now, but more Reapers arrive, and this continues to snowball. He's going to try to deny the factory, but actually not even trying for that, as the Reaper's now going to try to dive on top of the Reaper of Keen, looking to snowball this, because if you get that first Reaper, it does become intensely problematic, and now Citizens are finding their way on once again, looking to pin things forward, but it's 2 Reapers to 2 right now, 3 Reapers to 2. Dream is trying to make this happen. He's got to make this happen, but it's not snowballing, not just yet. A couple workers do fall, and Reapers, you got to be careful. But the first Hellion is out right now. It's going to find a nice shot. Oh, there we go. He's going to get one more shot. No, not quite, but only 3 workers die, and Keen's happy with this. Only losing 3 SCVs against double Barracks Proxy Reaper. I mean, there is more damage potential here. We're going to have to see what Dream actually gets done. But by the time he arrives, by the time this next set of Reapers, when we move up to 4 or 5, there are 2 Hellions on the field. And 2 Hellions, they just do so much damage towards these Reapers. So now Hellions on the low ground looking for something. KD8 charges forcing the paltry army that Keen has. Not the paltry army, it's a fantastic army. Force the army that Keen has back into the main base. And now Dream, he's found his way onto 6 Reapers. Of course, 6 Reapers is that magic number that one-shots SCVs. So there is that. And of course, behind this Dream, he's got a barracks on, or he's got, excuse me, a command center on the way on the low ground, trying to find his way out of this position because he's not breaking the high ground. Not with 3 Hellions here. Although he almost gets 1. I mean, make no mistake about it. 6 Reapers is a lot of damage, and they're going to go find their way in. Knock down Marines in 2 shots, but now the Hellions are here. SCV is getting pulled to repair the 1 low Hellion. Actually not getting repaired all that quickly. It looks like Keen, when he tried to do that, he was too low on minerals to actually make something happen. But Keen actually is going to find himself supply blocked here. That is something we almost never see, as the supply depot does go down. And now the Reapers, they're looking for something great. A great little block there. They can find their way in and, well, deny 1 choke, I guess, from the Hellions. But a Cyclone is out now, and notice it's saving its lock-on for Reapers. It doesn't really care about this barracks, not necessarily. As now the Reapers, they back up, waiting for themselves to heal back up once again. And while this still doesn't feel like a winning position for Dream, necessarily, he's getting a lot done. Even just getting that supply depot is significant when you have a Keen who, his economy is behind by a little bit, but his tech is far ahead. He's trying to snowball this. Well, it's hard. It's hard when you can't build units. That's just how that works. So Cyclone gets the lock on here, trading his lock-ons, and they trade 1 for 1, but the Reaper's trying to dive on top. Actually, Reaper's taking a pretty positive fight here. 1 Hellion does go down, all the Reapers go down, all the Marines go down, 3 Reapers will remain. What micro from Dream. Now he's going to lose, well, he's going to lose the rest of them. But that was far more cost-effective than it had any right to be. That was actually really nice. So at the end of things, we notice Dream, he loses more gas but less minerals, although I think actually he lost a little more. But here comes a Cyclone on the other side, and we're just going to see him, pick up, run home. That's what the medevac was for. But I think it's interesting what we see Keen doing here as the counter. He says, you're pretty tech heavy, but you don't have a lot of stuff that can contest Magfield Cyclones all that easily. So he continues to build Cyclones off the single factory. Macfield done as he gets a good lock on both the Cyclone and the Medivac. So Keen can't, or Dream cannot really save that. Now lock on the other side, and it's a superior lock on. Pure and simple. Or not even a superior lock on, superior HP, which does make it a superior lock on. Okay, so now here comes the army of Keen. Macfield is most of the way done. So it's not going to be that fantastic thing just yet, but there we go. We're going to have the tank disabled and triple lock on. This tank is not surviving, even with the repair. I don't think they'll actually, it's only double lock on, but yeah, it's going to go down. Okay. So tank is now dead. A couple Marines are here, but auto turret spam is a wonderful thing indeed. So 4 workers have gone down. Now you got to be careful. There's a tank on the high ground. Macfield accelerator done in 10 seconds. That really is the timing that Keen wants to hit. I think he has one more disable on the Ravens, but he's going to spend it on auto turrets instead to kill off more SCVs. As there we go. Cyclones in the corner. The tank is on stage as the Cyclones continue to find their way around. And folks, do you believe the Kwangdong Freecs Keen, the man who I did not give any credit for going into this series, he is up 15 workers right. He's up 10 workers right now. He finds himself in a fantastic position. His third base is on location. It's faster. And Keen has wedged himself into a winning position into this game at the cost of 3 Cyclones. He gets so damn much. Now, his upgrades, of course, are slow, but it doesn't matter because, folks, he's not going for bio. His upgrades are non-existent. He's got mech on the mind. He's looking to mech it happen. All right. So now he found value. And generally when we talk about mech versus anything, mech is predicated upon finding a little bit of value in the mid-game, the early to mid-game, that allows you to go and... Wow, I'm almost as cute as Steadfast. You know, that's fair. Steadfast is pretty cute, especially when he's got one of those sweaters on. Oh. Can't even control myself. Nobody clip that. Nobody send that to Steadfast. He cannot know of the man crush I have on him. But Keen, 4th base on the way. He has the map control. These Macfield Cyclones mean that it's really hard for Dream to get active on the map. The tanks, they're going to get locked on. They're going to get knocked down. Medivac's same deal. So we're going to have to see if he's going to be able to, well, going to be able to do something before Keen hits critical mass. As more tanks are on the way. 1-1 on the armories. But it's not there just yet. Stim is done. Cyclones are going to scout this out before anything else. They're looking for a lock-on on the tanks and the medevacs. Really, this is the big deal. Maybe a Raven as well. That's a rather full Raven. But okay, here comes the Army of Dream. We're going to see one tank get disabled, but the second one is still there. SCV's get pulled. Triple auto turret for Dream as he just knows he's got to make this hold happen. 8 workers go down. He doesn't even need to pull more than that. The tank does not even die. And Keen, yeah, his worker lead is not quite as big as it once was. In fact, he's down 2. But that was a significant commitment there from Dream. He does not have a 4th base, not even started. And, well, he got it started now. But that was expensive, and it was not the result that Dream was looking for. But remember, folks, there was an even bigger lead. Well, I don't know. I don't know if we can call it bigger, but there was a pretty similar lead for Keen in game 1, and it took him about 18 minutes to finish it. Hey, MW 1832. You are aware, thank you so much for the follow, but you are aware that there was that modern warfare. Well, I guess if you're in 1832, warfare is modern in 1832, but technically modern warfare, if we talk about like COD jargon, is modern 2000s era, whatever, 21st century. So you know that doesn't apply to 1832, right? I'm sure you do, but just so we're clear. Just gotta put that one on out there. Is the Keen now has his 4th base. 2-2 on the way for Dream. Has got concussive shells getting on into those Marauders as 5 additional barracks go down. And this is the mirror I like to see. Much like I'm not a big fan of, say, Roach Wars, but Roach versus Mute is a lot of fun. Okay, good. Just so we're clear. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just want to make sure that you're properly educated on how on how things work. You know, just it's my job here as a influencer, content creator, man who screams at the void at 2 in the morning about video games. That's the accurate one. Except it's not 2 in the morning right now, so no screaming at the void for me. Anyway, Hellions are active on the map. The Blue Flame is going to happen eventually, but it's not really the most impactful, most important upgrade in this game. Not really, although Blue Flame Hellbats drops on top of a bunch of Marines. Those are fun. We don't really see that type of mech anymore. That was something that Innovation was a big fan of dropping Blue Flame Hellbats on top of his opponent's army to prevent them from simming on top of the tanks. But yeah, we don't really see that all that much. Looks like, I'm not sure whether that was a barracks. Yeah, that's a barracks. Looking for scouting north side. Dream is starting to mass expand, though. He's got his 5th base on the way, because he understands that if you're playing Bio versus Mech, you do need to have an eco lead, because the Mech player will almost always be trading more efficiently, which is why the situation that Keen forced in the early game is so problematic. He got 15 workers. He killed off a couple tanks. He forced Dream to wait pretty much until Keen was maxed out before he could make something happen. And then that push also didn't work. The supply where I think Keen was about 140 supply also did not work there from Dream. So now it is a Bio Terran fighting into the full might of a Meching Terran. And there we go. Okay, Blue Flame in the Medivacs. Oh man, this is such an old school way to approach TVT Mech. I love it. I said I didn't think we were going to see it, but I was absolutely wrong. I've seen some Mech TVT, but I haven't seen the eight Blue Flame Hellbats in Medivacs looking to just drop on top of the army, carpet bomb things as the buffer. But here we go, dropping on top of everything, eviscerating the Marines. And yeah, the Marauders, they live a little bit longer, but not damn long enough. The Vikings knocking down everything in the sky. The tanks are knocking down everything on the ground. And folks, it's looking right here, right now. Actually, wait, the Marauders on the backside, they're cleaning up a lot of these tanks on the ground. They don't die that quickly, but there we go. The Vikings, they land. They say, these Marauders, well, you don't get to do all that much. Most of the tanks, actually, of Keen have fallen, but the tanks of Dream are going to fall in short order. I expected the Vikings to land, but they're not going to do so. And in fact, that fight worked a lot better for Dream than I expected. Yeah, maybe he hasn't traded as effectively as Keen has, but that's Bio versus Mech for you. The Marauders on the backside having 2-2 and Keen not really having 2-2 just yet. It worked out okay. It was a fantastic surround. Are you watching a rough stream? I don't know. Is my voice rough? Does it sound hoarse? Does it sound rough? Otherwise, no, I don't think you're watching a rough stream. Is the FPS getting dropped? Is it scuffed in that way? But okay, 3-3 on the way here for the Meching players. Well, there's a 4th base that's going to get found. I mean, Dream knew this happened, but great shots there from the Hellions. They're going to knock down a lot of these Marines. I'm looking to siege up as now we see the multi-prong from Dream, but it's multi-prong where the Meching Terran has 20 more army supply. That doesn't feel all that great. Vikings now running forward, looking to knock the Medivac down, and then you get half of it, and that's something. But here we go. The Hellbats are running on forward, getting kept alive here. Marauders, again, the Hellbats don't matter. Their job is just to buffer. And if they get some tanks, that's always going to be nice. But their job buffering for the tanks to allow the tanks to get the shots that they want. No, I know External Punch. I'm making bad jokes. But this Terran from Keen is not weird. It's just super anachronistic. This is the style. If you go back and watch Tasia vs. Innovation from, I want to say 2015, end of Legacy of the Void. Maybe it's 2014, I forgot. You watch Tasia vs. Innovation on that game. This is how Mech used to be. Lots of tanks, maybe a couple Thor's Vikings, but the big deal, of course, you get these Blue Flame Hellbats that are heavily upgraded in your Medivacs, and you carpet bomb them on top of the Bio, so the Bio has to deal with that, not with the tanks that are getting the real damage done. We don't see that as much anymore, but it's looking pretty effective here in this game, and we can also see that. I mean, Keen, it's a style from back when Keen was the, well, he was the effective, or when he was most effective, when he was at his best. a Ron Lim. But yes, the Sherman. I'm aware of who Ruff is. I was making a joke. A bad joke. But anyway, okay, here comes the army of Keen. Once again, Viking shell away at the... they got the medevacs. Oh, that's a big armor shredder missile, but you can't quite get on top of these tanks just yet. Thor runs forward, and it's just going to annihilate things. 450 HP is a lot. But the Bio of Dream on the left side, they're going to try to knock this base down, finding inside track. The armor... Well, the armor just really not there, but the base does go down. Luckily, there's another command center on the way to the tanks. They're not even fighting siege. They're going to fight unsiege because they have more than enough to deal with this army. Then they're going to siege up for the second point. His Dream he's trying to crack him open here, but the Vikings, they land, and the hug of the death. The citizens arrest knocks down that army, and Dream again loses his army, but he's up 24 workers right now. And he has, I don't know how many, what is that? He's 14 barracks, something like that. 12, 14 barracks. I'm not totally sure of the proper number, but he has a lot of production. So you give him a little time. Yeah, this game is scrappy as hell. Dream needs to win this game. KDF, well, Good Game Gaming is fighting to avoid relegation right now. And I thought if there was going to be a single series that I was pretty sure Good Game Gaming was going to at least take one map in, it was going to be this one. But Keen is playing like his keyboard's on fire. He's playing so damn well both games. And now he's up 60 army supply. So yeah, sure, his economy was in shambles, but now look at Hellbats. They got a lot to say about that. When SCVs, they run away. That third base is going to fall, but Keen, he understands he can get more. He's going to find his way into the natural. Now he's going to get on top of that tank, get on top of the production, and watch it just explode. That's overkill if you ever seen some on the that one Marauder that was right there. But Dream setting up for one last surround, one last counterattack to try to make sure that he has some chance, some ability, some way to play this game. But he's stuck really at 160 supply. He's going to catch some of the reinforcements, but I'm not even sure he can fight that. Doesn't look like it. He's going to back the hell on up. And okay, in the middle of the map, Dream denying reinforcements as well as he can. Going to try to, I gotta imagine he's going to try to stim up here, because as bad as that feels, he's getting camped. His production's getting camped. Everything's going to get camped. But the full 360 surround finding its way in from every side. But is there enough? Even still, the tanks shelling away, and it looks like the tanks are going to get cleaned up for the most part. But it's the next layer of things. And there's so many Marauders. There are just not enough Marines, not enough anti-air. These Liberators, they own the skies. Actually, they own the ground, but Keen, in fact, owns the skies, and the best fight Dream could have possibly taken, but it was not quite enough, as again the second level of this round finds its way on in. But there's a second layer of tanks, and there is not enough bio. Dream is broke. Even with the 5-6 bases, it does not matter. Keen, he takes the 2-0. He secures a victory for KD Freecs, and they maintain their lead over Team Liquid as the 8th placed or the 7th place team.